think there's a legislative conference going on, a probate conference. Judge Wilson has
Yeah,
a judicial conference next week. It must be conference month
right, right. Everybody getting all the hours in.
for sure.
Hmm.
Okay, so let me hold on just a moment. It still says it's setting up the meeting.
Do we have Miss Schaefer and Miss Marquez in there?
Oh, they stepped outside. Jenny,
Okay.
Jenny. Here we are. Okay, it launched on Zoom and then I shut my Zoom browser window off. I mean, on YouTube. And if y'all see me looking up, I'm looking up at the Promethean board.
Yeah.
All right. Item 1, review and take actions on the minutes from November 7th of 2023.
Okay, can y'all see me? I don't know where I need to be. Or am I,
You're fine.
okay, here.
No.
You're fine right there.
Good to see you. Hi.
I'll be Judge Camacho today. Sitting for
Yeah.
chair.
Where's Judge? Oh, there he is. I was like, Judge Wilson's there. Good morning, Mr. Gaitan. Good morning, Miss Marquez. Good morning, Miss Schaefer.
Good afternoon. It's actually
Oh,
afternoon.
yes. Well,
And so
I'm
this,
already lost on my time.
and I have the
Okay.
minutes open on this meeting. This is the meeting that I kind of did because I think you were in the middle of a long trial or something, Judge Wilson.
That sounds correct.
Mhm.
So I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
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 And I show that I abstained, but it's 2-0. They're approved. Okay, item 3, review and take action on the proposed Frio County Juvenile Probation Department grant and fund and grant budgets.
Salary schedule is
Our
first.
salary schedule first. Okay, let me put that on Excel spreadsheet. All right. So I'm looking at that on your spreadsheet. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, this is the same salaries that we had before with the state mandated 5% salary adjustment. It was a 5% salary adjustment or a minimum of a minimum 3,000. So JPO Gonzalez was her 5% would have been less than 3,000. So she got the 3,000. And the way it shows on here, they gave us the money for the 2 years. So it looks kind of funny. So that amount, it doesn't, as you look on, if you look at Gonzalez, it says 6,000. That's for the 2 years because that's how he gave it to us. It looks kind of funny. So it's 3,000 from last year, 3,000 from this year. The others, it's actually kind of split down the middle. It's last year's plus 5% for this year. So it's not a 7,000 raise from Ms. Tejas or
But
nine.
isn't that wrong? Like fiscal year 24 should have had a $3,000 raise for Gonzalez. So that would have made them 44. But it can't go to, isn't that wrong?
Well, that they gave it to, okay. So the amount last year, they gave us $17,000 in the salary adjustment, 17 something. This year, they gave us 34,930. That included the 17,000 plus 17,000 something from this year.
And I just
So
had this discussion in LaSalle because that I went and pulled the code on it and it's not a $6,000 raise. Like that number shouldn't be 6,000. None of those numbers should be what they are. It should be the general salary times 5%. And if that number exceeds 3,000, then that's the number. And then, or they should be 3,000 because it's not a double raise. It's this amount, the fiscal year 24, this amount, fiscal year 25. It's not everybody that's reading this double raise. It's not a double raise. It's this and then this.
Right.
It
right.
ultimately works like that way for a biennium, but
Right. Well, it's just showing it. Right, exactly. It's not a double raise. It's just they're showing the way they gave us the funds.
So what did
It's-
Gonzalez make at this fiscal year? What's the total
She
salary?
made 47,000. So
47.
so she makes 50,000 this year. So it went from 40,000, she got another 3,000. So now she's making 50,000.
I
So
just don't like the way this shows because it looks, I mean, to the
like
citizen,
it's double.
that's
I agree. It's kind of odd, but as Crystal can say, it was a weird way that they gave it to us. They gave it to, 17,000 last year and then 34,000 this year.
Okay, but what is Gonzalez's base salary this year? For the 24-25 fiscal year?
The total, it's her base salary, state aid is 44,000. And then the salary adjustment is 6,000. So it was the 3,000 from last year and the 3,000.
Okay, but
It gives her the 50.
that's not what's happening. You can't do that. I'm not gonna vote for that.
I'm not either.
And if you look, do y'all have this particular sheet, the salary breakdown, 24-25? It does
Yes.
show all of those that are actually high, like it's the double digits. It shows Gonzalez at the state salary adjustment of 6,000. Tejas at 7,333, Gaitan at 8,979, and Schaefer at 9,971. But when you look at it like this, it looks
So-
like a big
So
increase.
Crystal, is it 47,000 her total salary for fiscal year, like 47 even for fiscal year 2024? If it's all in, was it
Isn't it-
47 for 24?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
It was 47,000.
Year
47.
2024, Jenny just said it was 47. Is it indeed 47? Is that what
It's,
she made in 24?
Yes, well, the way the state breaks it out, they have a state aid budget, then they have a salary the state salary adjustment. So it's
What is that total for 2024? What are both of those numbers total? Or give them to me and I'll add them.
for the state aid and the salary adjustment.
Yes, for just Gonzalez.
The total, how did you come up with that, Jenny? It was the 44 plus the 3,000 should have been 47.
So
And
she
then
had 47 last year plus 3,000 this year. So she had
Correct.
50,000.
So this spreadsheet, whoever did this needs to just trash this spreadsheet and tell us what is the total salary for 2024.
Because her base salary is 44,000. If she got an extra 3,000 last year, they could have given her extra $1 million last year, but her base salary is 44,000. And if she gets an extra 3,000 this year, then she'll get 44,000 each year plus 3,000 from the state. But it's not 44,000 last year plus 3,000 from the state. So it's 47,000 this year plus 3,000 from the state because you got to magic up 3,000
Okay, but-
bucks.
Okay, the reason for that is what they're tracking is they're tracking the funds in the Flux program. They are tracking them under state aid. They're tracking the 44,000 in this state aid category, and they are tracking the 6,000 to 3,000 from last year and 3,000 from this year under state salary adjustment grant. They're tracking last year's and this year's. And it is, I agree, it's odd and it looks like she got 6,000 this year, but she didn't do that. That's why we did it that way. So it does look like it's a $6,000 increase, but that's just.
I'm not voting for it.
No. Is there any way we can break
I
it
mean,
down and
I
show
need
it?
to total it. Like go pretend like you're running a W-2 because we're at the end of the fiscal year. She's gotten all of her paychecks but one. Go tell me what that number totals. And if whatever that number is, like if that number for you is $100,000, then your raise is 5% on $100,000. But I need to know what that number is. Like if you ran a paycheck today on the year-to-date total, because the fiscal year closes in 2 days, right? So whatever that number is, that's the actual raise amount number. And I understand what you're saying, and I've read the handout, but I've also read the exact law on that. And I called around because we had this discussion in another county, and it has to be the total salary, and it's 3% or whatever it is. It's the 5% or $3,000, whichever is greater of the total salary, and that's all we can give you. And if they gave you too much money, we have to deobligate it and send it back. And it's kind of like, and this is, I guess, and I don't know if like if you were to proceed with retirement, we'd end up deobligating all of those funds, in some part.
You want me to look at that spreadsheet?
Yeah, do you have that? Do
The
you
one that
have?
compares from last year to this year? I have that one. that
Okay,
compares.
see what that, see if that will,
Okay.
if that will explain that. That would be.
And I guess the big issue is you've got 1 year of base salary and 2 years of supplement and you have a
Right.
total. That's not the total. The total is either
Right.
94,000, which is 44,000 twice and plus 90,000. Well, no, it's 88,000, 44 twice plus 6,000. What is that? That's 94. Yes, 94,000, what I said. So, I mean, it needs to, and then you can have 94,000 and then put down a note that's over the biennium. So it's half of that for each salary year, or put down what it is, 44 plus 3.
And is that how they showed it in
Instead-
the other counties? Because
I
that's,
don't know what they did in the other, I think
That's how we
everybody's
did it
doing
in a few of our counties, because that they gave us a total and then they showed us just the 3,000 or 5% for each year.
oh, yeah,
And if you want to drop a footnote and say the other 3,000 was paid last year,
I mean, we can do that. We'll see what her,
so if the state didn't come up and say, hey, where's we want our money? You didn't spend it right.
no, they gave it to us, this 34,930 down here, this bottom under salary adjustment, that they gave that to us. I mean, they gave us the form that they gave us said, you got 17,000 last year, this year getting 34,930. So they showed it to us to cover last year's increase and this year's increase. So that's why I did it like that. So, yeah, I know it's odd. That makes sense. But I mean, the bottom line is she got $47,000 last year and then she got a $3,000 increase to 50,000 this year.
No, because it's a $3,000 one-time payment, right?
For
No,
24 and for 25, but she should have gotten it last year in 24, and then she would only get
She was
3,000.
making 24,000 and then she went to 47,000 last year and then she went to 50,000 this
Hmm.
year. So she got 3,000 last year, 3,000 this year. A
I
state
just-
man.
Yeah, but you're giving her the 3,000 from last year twice. If her
Yeah.
salary so does the law say that whatever raise the state gives, this county has to match that every year forever?
No, I don't know what their plan is. I assume that they're going to just incorporate it into the state aid.
Okay. Her salary is 47,000 and she got a $3,000 extra from the state. That doesn't make her salary 47, it's 44. And if the state gives them 10,000 next year or zero, I mean, the next biennium, or the base salary is still 44,000.
Or it has the salary. It's for Giselle, I believe Gonzalez. It's Jenny, Victor, Rosie, Giselle. And it has 206 at 44,000. This is the salary for 23, 24, and then it has the 3,000. So it says Giselle's total is 47. So if you look at the new rate, it's 44,000 and the 6,000, and then it's the 50,000.
But there's not 6 because it's only for one out of the bucket.
Because this is last year's and this is this year's, is that right?
So like what, here, let me drop this link to Judge Wilson here.
This is last year's and this is this year's?
Yeah, this is for we're starting, and then this is for this year. This is what's being proposed.
It says the salary adjustment grant provides funding to juvenile probation departments in the amount of $3,000 or 5%, whichever is higher, plus up to 20% for fringe for base salary adjustments for JPOs, chiefs. The goal of the salary adjustment is to blah, 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 blah. And then, I mean,
It's a 3,000 time.
because it's, I mean, under it, it says the cap, each eligible employee's maximum salary adjustment at $3,000 or 5% base at the beginning of each fiscal year.
I have no idea what they intend to do, what the legislator intends to do next year, what with that, how they're going to cover that. All I know was mandatory 5% or 3,000 last year and 5% or 3,000 this year. So maybe I misrepresented it. I just felt that that was the way they presented it to us. This is your $34,930. And
We just deobligated that in LaSalle 10 minutes ago.
well, I don't. With it, then we would be, so then we would be giving up the money that was,
That's what we did. We gave back some. But we just calculated it on whatever the total is. And I just still don't know what everybody's made for 2024.
is there any way to get, is there any way to give?
I
this-
can
she
email it. I'll email
Can
it.
she email this to you?
I mean, Judge Wilson can look at it and calculate it. He can tell me the total. I mean,
Okay,
Can you do that, Premier?
if you just tell me if we know what each person actually made.
all right. No, I didn't bring my glasses with me downstairs. They're on my
Well,
bed.
reading glasses? Will that help?
It's like, what was Mr. Gaitan's total salary last year?
I can't tell you because I don't have any glasses.
I'm sorry. It's
No, you take them. You're
No.
calculating.
Judge Dillingham, Victor Gaitan's total salary for last year was $91,971.
All right, so he gets, his raise this year is $4,598.55. That's what he gets.
You just want to change the salary, change that.
I mean,
Okay,
I
and-
think it's just the
What's funny?
spreadsheet's bad. Like, I think this is just
Yeah.
the spreadsheet makes sense to y'all on the back end. It's just not on the front end transparent, right?
Right.
We can change that.
So so he gets 4598.55 if someone's writing that down. All right, so what did Tellez make total last year?
Rosie Tellis made $75,110.75.
So her raise is $3,755.54. And then what was Gonzalez's total salary last year?
37,000 even.
37,
47, I'm sorry.
47.
Okay, but 3,000 of that was
Is
from the,
3,000.
are we including the state's 3,000 from everything?
Oh, yes. So we're not gonna, well, let me see.
That's what we did in LaSalle is we just did the total. We included that 3,000 from the time before.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
so we're saying that that's a permanent raise for everybody.
Yeah, and I don't think that the
Out of
state,
state aid, yes, because we just funded those out of state aid, because both of those numbers then ultimately are paid by the state. I guess ultimately, if the state didn't fund it, then we would go adjust the state aid and reduce those salaries. Right?
Right.
Because the only people that got that, because the support staff don't get it since they don't supervise kids.
All right, so is it then a permanent raise? Is that what we've done in other counties? That it's a permanent raise or?
I think we just designated that, that's why it has 2 line items. It comes out of state aid. And so, I mean, it's a permanent raise provided that the state fund aid is still there.
And if that's not state aid funded, is that the county's responsibility to pick up?
no, I think that's why it's a totally separate line item. I think that's why they're funding it separately. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they can't speak to until it's a next legislative session until whether they're able to fund that.
For next year.
Yeah,
So,
they next fund it the next biennium.
so is the 5% for this fiscal year include the $3,000 from the state that was put on as a supplement last year?
Yes. Yes, they funded that 3% and that 5% last year, plus
And
this
that's the
additional.
way and that's the way I
Sure.
read that handout is it's the total salary from whatever fiscal year 24 is.
So people are getting a minimum $6,000 raise
Oh.
over the biennium.
Over the biennium, but not,
Is that what we're doing for everybody?
Yes.
yes.
Oh.
That's what we did, and that's what we just did in LaSalle.
Okay,
But they kind of had the same idea that it was 6,000 this year too, the way it presents from TJJD or whoever, but it's just the number we're calculating. All right, and so then what about Jenny? What's
so
Jenny's total
don't we
salary?
need to draw a distinction between the base salary and the part of that comes from the state? Or the fact that this is a state supplement or addition?
I think the way the state gave the money though, the money's in there calculated so that it can be both. But I think when we put it in our actual budget, there should be that line item that says general fund distribution and then state aid, where that portion's clearly coming from state aid.
Okay, but it comes from the state aid once and then the county matches it forever. So if they do this again, APO is going to get a $12,000 raise that the county matches.
I don't know what the intention is. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I don't know.
I think we can leave it as whatever the base salary is stays the same, and then that other money just comes out of state line item.
State aid.
And then we just tell all the employees, I mean, I don't care if we have them sign a form that says, understand this is a supplement coming from the state. If it goes away, so it goes away to you. We could do that.
Kind of like this.
We did that with the SB 22 money. I was literally gonna say Judge Camacho did it like that for SB 22 money that said, deputies, you're gonna get this $10,000, but it is not a part of your salary. It is understand that you're not married to it.
Right. And we
And
actually
that's
have
fine.
them sign on that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to stick with the base salary, because not everybody gets this extra funding and it's kind of
So,
hard.
So tell me
Hundred
Jenny's total salary, Crystal.
Sorry?
What's Jenny's total salary? She's the only one we haven't.
Jenny's total salary is $102,137.
So no. Total no, it's 107,244. You talking about base salary or are you talking about?
We're talking about fiscal year 2024. Your total salary is the 102, and then this year it would be 5106.85 added to that 102. Are you? I said this earlier, and I don't want to be insensitive, but are you staying?
I'm still here.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know what time frame that is on.
I haven't decided.
Okay.
I'm still here. I haven't made a decision. So sorry to.
We're glad to have you. We don't need you to leave,
Yes.
but I just want to make sure
You're not kicking me out.
Nope.
I'll let you know.
All
Okay.
right.
So if not funded in future years, then how do you want me to word that in my minutes?
We have we have for the deputies for Senate Bill 22 that basically states that this is grant funded. And if the funding is no longer available, that you will go back to your
Okay,
regular
base
salary.
And get me that now.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me see how the agenda has that.
Okay.
And so what you have on your spreadsheet already matches, it's rounded to the nearest dollar. It's with a 107,244.
So I move to approve the salaries as discussed in our meeting today with the 5% or 3,000, whichever is greater, as calculated, with the understanding that the employees at the start of the fiscal year will sign a disclosure indicating that that money is being received from state aid, and if it goes away, the base salary will be the salary for the position.
I'll second.
In favor, aye.
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Okay, and I was just checking, everything works out. I've got the spreadsheet pulled up looking at it, so everything works out in your numbers there. So we just need to not have the other document in the minutes. Okay, agenda item
as
Juvenile
the budget.
Probation Department, General Fund Grant and Budget for 2025.
Okay.
The only question I had is, are we getting free psychologicals? I noticed that service expense was nothing.
The psychologicals were zeroed out by the request of Jenny. She went ahead and had the state budget cover that under, where is it? Community-based program, if
Right.
that's correct.
Yeah, our community-based program and our operating expenses will cover our self-directed learning courses, which this is, we talked about this last year. This is what Judge Camacho brought to us last year. It's our cognitive life skills program. I brought brochures this year. I remember to bring them over if you want to look at this, Judge Wilson. And we've had about 20 kids go through this program. Anger avoidance, self-awareness, youth, parent, substance abuse, positive thinking skills, marijuana prevention, minor possessions. We can tailor it to the kids. They do it. It's self-directed. They have about 30 days to complete it. It can go longer. It costs us about $90 per program. They can do as many as we think they need. Say if you have a kid that has substance abuse program, but also has anger issues, we can put them through one program and then require that they go through another program also. Or if they, something comes up later, we can say, hey, you need to do this program also. And they do it on their own. If they don't have a computer or not doing it on their own, we can have them come into the office and sit down at a laptop at our office and do it. So most of them have done it on their own. We have a couple that are lagging right now that Ms. Gonzalez is having a little trouble. So we were talking about that yesterday in our staffing meeting about how we were going to motivate them to do that. So that covers those courses and our psychologicals and any therapy and counseling. And there's not a lot of funding for the therapy and counseling because most of that we are getting funded through Camino Real. I mean, we're getting free through Camino Real and South Texas Rural Health. So we're not having to pay for a lot of that.
Okay, and you're getting your court psychologicals through WCA?
No, we get those. We just had one done with Dr. Rollins or Dr. Gates or Dr. What's the other one's name? Who retired?
Hill had just retired.
Hill just so Dr. Gaines or Dr. Rollins.
So what category would those fall under?
Just under that, under community-based programs or operating expenses there.
That was my only question. I don't have any other issues with the budget if it works for you all. So,
Yeah, we're just having the state pay for the psychologicals rather than the county.
all right. Well, I move to approve the budget as presented.
I'll second.
Favor aye.
Aye.
Judge Camacho?
Yes,
Aye.
yes, sorry. Aye.
Okay, I only heard the one.
I'm sorry, I'll be louder.
They may overlap and Zoom is off and in and out. Okay,
Yeah.
aye, so it's unanimous. Okay. Review, take action authorizing Jenny Schaefer to submit the budget worksheets directly to the Juvenile Justice Department.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Favor aye, aye,
Aye.
unanimous. Oh, yes, ma'am.
And Ginny, on the worksheets that are electronically submitted to the Texas Juvenile Justice Department, if you can just kind of show me what that kind of looks like when you submit.
Yeah, the Flex program. Can I?
You can print
If
out.
You can just show me. You call me to your office and just show me.
I was gonna say that. I'm just trying to think about. Yeah.
No, just
Well,
call me to your
well,
office and show me, just so I'm familiar with what it looks like and what
Absolutely.
information goes out. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Certainly.
All right,
Thank you, ma'am.
next, counties. ratifying the contract between the Juvenile Board and San Patricio County. They wanted that signed earlier, so I signed that in July, I think.
Right, we were having trouble finding beds in Atascosa and Guadalupe and Victoria. So we reached out to San Patricio. We haven't had to use them. The one time we needed them was when there was a hurricane and they actually had all their kids in Atascosa, so we weren't able to use them.
They shipped it up.
So anyway, I wrote down just so y'all don't have to contracts, the different prices for detention. San Patricio is 175 a day, Atascosa is 200 a day, Guadalupe's 250 a day, and Victoria's 200. We always try Atascosa because it's in district and it's the closest. And then we just kind of go through the list and see who's available. So we have been able to find beds in Atascosa most recently. Recently, so that hasn't really been a problem. And then the long-term contracts, Victoria's 250 a day, Hayes County's 300 a day. We just had a young man in Hayes County for about 3 months, and Crystal, we won't be paying for him anymore because he just got discharged yesterday. So we paid about 3 months with him, so we will be saving some money there, but we will have to find another place for him. Atascosa County Substance Abuse Program is 250 a day. Gulf Coast Vocational is 275 a day. And then Rites of Passage, they have Lake Granbury, 295 a day. Oaks, Brownwood, 295 a day. And Monarch is in Denison is for girls, which is 325 a day. So we have most recently used Hayes County. We're reaching out now for our young man that was discharged from Hayes County and seeing what program would be appropriate for him and which program would accept him since he's been expelled from another program. So.
Okay, is there a motion to ratify the Hayes County contract?
I was going to make a motion to approve 5 through 13. If you
I'll
want
second.
to.
All right, and I did not see the Hayes County, I said Hayes.
Oh.
I didn't see the Hayes
Didn't
County
see Hayes.
contract, the PDF.
And there is not a Hayes County contract because Hayes County did not change the rates or terms.
Okay,
And so the other last year's contract is still in effect. So I put that on the agenda and then I called to check on that and that's what they told me. So there is no new Hayes County contract.
all right, so I will, with her permission, amend Judge Zillingham's motion to approve 5 through 13 to be 5 through 7 and 9 through 13. And does your second still stand, Judge Camacho?
Yes, sir. I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Unanimous? All right, new business or stuff for the future. And actually, let me go back and ask Judge Dillingham, was it Atascosa County that the county auditor said that if you didn't have at least $1 in the budget for capital expenditures, that you couldn't move money to capital expenditures if you needed to buy something?
Right, that's correct. You would have to have a
Yes,
dollar.
Okay, so do we need to put $1 in amend the budget to put $1 in capital expenditures just in case we need to move something around?
I believe Jenny has done all her capital expenditures for this year. Do you plan to have any additional expenditures for next year?
But this would be for unplanned. Something came up where they wanted to move some money around at the end of the year and buy something because they had money left over, but they couldn't because there wasn't $1 in the capital funds.
Would you like to do that, Jenny?
Sure. If we need to do that, then
Right,
let's
so let's go back to item 3 and I move to amend the proposed budget to include $1 in line item. Do you know the line item, Crystal?
On our budget, we call it purchases non-capitalized.
All right, I move
Under-
to put $1 there.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye. Good
Unanimous.
catch, Judge Wilson.
All right, any new business or?
I just like to know every time how many kids we have. I know that we're checking on, supervising, and or just on our caseload.
Nice. And I will share as well that we do have some more possible grant opportunities through ACOG for some juvenile services. So we have some more resources possibly coming up. We are gonna be applying for those. And it's there's some coming up with more parental involvement or supporter, guardian, all of that type of support. So that's another thing. We also have more resources that will be coming, making some presentations in Commissioners Court in regards to some of our younger youth age that have places to go to prepare them for career paths and whatnot. It's really good information. So we've got that coming up in our Commissioners Court, and as well, I'll be communicating with Chief Schaefer and Assistant Chief Gaitan. So we're moving. We're moving.
I guess, Jenny, I have one thing. Melissa Padron for Carnes Wilson won a $4.2 million HHSC grant from ACOG. It's a takeover from Bexar County that offers substance abuse, counseling, other resources. It's all free. I think Frio County qualifies to use her resources since they're within our ACOG region.
Nice.
You may just want to ask her if they were looking for kind of some locations where they could do some outreach and then just kind of house a person temporarily. They just are looking for like a traveling destination. So if that's something that maybe could help y'all, ask Melissa about that, because they have all of that money and resources now.
We have talked
That's
about that.
Melissa. What's her last name, Judge Dillingham?
Padron. She's
Yeah,
the,
and I would certainly be able to house
Nice.
somebody in our office.
she's going to do a presentation to the Atascosa Juvenile Board in 2 weeks. So maybe she could do something for us if that works. If that's something that she meets with you and it's of interest to you or could work, maybe we can make it work.
Would be great.
That's good.
Free is always good. Coupons are always good.
Yes, exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
anything else?
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous?
Have a great day. Is your docket done?
Thank you.
Oh, no, I've got hopefully a bunch of pleas. My 4-hour divorce read an agreement into the record right before I broke, so
Oh, wow.
hopefully, hopefully that'll
Very
be.
exciting. Awesome. Okay, well, have a great day.